Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. I am your host, as always, Harrison Graham. Appreciate you guys tuning in to today's show. Mel Kiper Jr. released his latest mock draft, but thank God for the Bears. He went 2 rounds in this one, so that means we can react to it and give some thoughts on what Kiper did with Chicago. But before we get to that, just a little bit of background. No first-round pick for the Bears, obviously, due to the Justin Fields trade. The Bears do have a pair of second-round picks at number 39 and at number 48. And, guys, the draft is almost here, less than 2 weeks away. Thursday, April 28th through Saturday, April 30th. I cannot wait, and I hope you guys are excited as well. The amount of total picks the Bears have is 6, 2 second-round picks, a third-round pick, a pair of fifth-round picks, and a sixth-round pick. Obviously, today we'll be focusing on picks number 39 and picks number 48 as Mel Kiper released his latest 2-round mock draft. Which 2 players should the Bears draft in the second round? You're in charge, no trades. Who would you like to pick at 39 and at 48? I'm going to be reading the comments, so I want to know, who do you want the Bears to draft with their 2 second-round picks? Well, Mel Kiper decides to go cornerback in round 2, pick number 39, Kyler Gordon, the corner out of Washington, one of 2 good corners coming out of the Huskies program. Trent McDuffie going to be a first-round pick. Kiper opts to go corner for Chicago in round 1, and Gordon's a good player, good coverage skills. I think he can plug in and be a starter right away as a CB2 opposite of Jaylon Johnson, and that's something you still need if you are the Bears for sure. Now, you look at his coverage stats, gave up just over 51% completion, 0 touchdowns in coverage allowed, which I liked quite a bit, plus had 2 interceptions and 7 pass breakups this past season. He's a damn good player, and I think a player who's getting overlooked. I don't think corner's your biggest need, but it's a good value selection here in round 2. Mel Kiper had this to say on the selection: the Bears could go several ways here, including offensive tackle, wide receiver, and guard. With Gordon still available, though, I'd pounce. He has lockdown traits. Didn't allow a single touchdown in coverage last season. There has been a great history of teams finding starting corners in the second round, and Gordon has a chance to play very early. Kind of like Jaylon Johnson, who started as a second-round pick just a couple of years ago. More on this selection in a moment, but make sure you guys are following us on Rumble in addition to YouTube because, hey, on Rumble, we have free videos, uncensored content as well. Plus, if you want to check out other content creators over there, you can find more sports coverage, news, politics, tech, business, lots of storylines out there. I'm sure there's some Elon Musk videos growing to platforms that you use, plus bonus exclusive Bears videos that you can see over there from time to time before they are on YouTube. Rumble.com/BearsNow. That is the place to go to find more Chicago Bears news and rumors content. You look at the cornerback position as we talk about Kyler Gordon as a potential draft pick here, as Kiper selected him number 39 overall. I like the Tavon Young edition. I think he starts at nickel. Jaylon Johnson is a good corner. He's not lockdown CB1 yet, but he is a CB1 in the NFL. I like the upside of Thomas Graham, but I still think there's too much unknown. So I think drafting a guy like Gordon who can come in and start as CB2 is a decent move. Now, a lot of this depends on how the board falls. A lot of receivers were gone when the Bears picked here, so he opted to go cornerback at 39. Offensive line, same deal. A lot of those guys were gone, so I don't mind this. If you're Ryan Poles, you can't reach. Like, if you don't like a player at a position you're targeting, either take another position, best player available, or trade down. Don't force the issue. You don't have to take a receiver or an offensive line at pick number 39, and that's why I can't really harp Kiper too much with this pick, because you're getting a good player at a position of need, even if it's not your top need. So what should the Bears do? What's your draft philosophy? Should they draft for need or for best player? Type need, type BPA for best player available. I think you should almost always go BPA. Now, there are exceptions. A couple I can think of. If the best player on their board is a quarterback, you're not going to do that. But I think in general, get the best player, a guy that can come in and contribute, and ideally start right away. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button here on Bears Now. It's a big red button with red letters that says subscribe. Click it. It's free. I think people are scared of that word, like, oh, I'm going to have to give you guys my credit card number. No, none of that. It's free. All it does is help us out. And if you turn on that notification bell after you do subscribe, you get notified when we publish videos here on YouTube, I would greatly appreciate it. Let's continue to grow this channel here on Bears Now. The link is down below, youtube.com/Bears Now for more Chicago Bears videos. Let's go to Kiper's second selection here for the Bears, round 2, pick number 48. It's Tyler Smith, the offensive lineman out of Tulsa. With this selection, he's been connected to the Bears quite a bit in several mock drafts. I mocked him to Chicago with my mock draft 3.0. By the way, mock draft 4.0 going to go out on the channel this weekend, so be out on the look. Turn on those noties. But Smith is kind of, he's entrenched as a day 2 guy at this point. I think he'll go in the second round. The upside is massive. A lot of technical work that needs to happen for him to be a quality, especially tackle in the NFL. Could be a guard. We'll see. Mel Kiper had this to say, quote, I mentioned Chicago's offensive line need at number 39, and Smith could play a role at guard or tackle. He played left tackle for the Golden Hurricane, but some team view him as a better guard at the next level. He has to get more consistent and work on his technique. He was called for a whopping 12 penalties last season, a lot of those holds, but the tools are there. He just grabs too much. I mean, he holds too much. That's his problem. He's got the physical attributes, but the technique is garbage. He panics and he grabs. You got to stick to your technique. You got to learn technique, number one. I don't think he's done enough learning. And you got to get those little punch moves that offensive linemen talk about. It's not quite there yet for Tyler Smith, but 6'6", 6'7", 320. I mean, he's mobile. He's got the tools to be a left tackle. Maybe he comes in and plays guard at first. Do you want Tyler Smith? We've talked about him enough here on this show. Type Y for yes, type N for no. I'd be fine with it. Just know that there's going to be growing pains with this player. He's probably not going to come in and be an all-pro as a rookie, so keep that in mind. Now, PFF graded him out pretty well last year for Tulsa, 92 overall. Pass blocking needs a little work, 75. Run block was tremendous, 94, so that should translate at least fairly well. Only gave up a couple of sacks, but remember, a lot of penalties. To me, for a college offensive lineman, if you hold, that's kind of like half a sack allowed because if you hold on second down, sure, it's still second down, but you lost 10 yards. So to me, it's like half a sack. So, and if you count 12 penalties for half a sack, that's 6 more sacks. So, he's got to get a little better in that area. But, again, the physical attributes and the upside is there. Maybe he can come in and play right guard his first year or two because you don't have one. I don't think you want Dakota Dozier starting. I don't think Larry Borum's going to kick inside. We'll see what happens. I think there could be some shuffling around with some of these pieces. Does Tevin Jenkins play left or right tackle? Who knows? I actually kind of like the idea of having Smith play at first at guard in the NFL. Don't worry about him, having to move and protect Justin Fields' blind side a ton. Just put him at guard, teach him technique. Sure, he's going to have some growing pains, but I think, he could learn a little bit faster if he played inside. Now, some notable picks after Tyler Smith that I thought were interesting, some potential Bears draft targets. 3 receivers, Sky Moore, John Mechie, Alec Pierce, 3 players I like quite a bit, especially Moore and Pierce. Roger McCreary, who's probably going to be a nickel in the NFL. He's got short arms. He's a guy I was interested in a few weeks ago, but after signing Tavon Young, he probably doesn't make sense. I don't think he's an outside corner in the NFL. And then Abraham Lucas, who we've talked about a little bit out of Washington State, I think he could be a plug-and-play starting right tackle in the National Football League. So these were all players on the board when Kiper selected Tyler Smith. The point being, Bears should have options. This is a deep draft. This is something that Matt Eberflus talked about during his interview with Chris Collinsworth, which we broke down here on the channel. Subscribe and go check that out in the videos tab. There's going to be a lot of players available with these day 2 selections. I think Ryan Poles will have options. I think he can be patient. This is not a draft where you need to panic. You can get quality players on day 2, which is why Eberflus also said, hey, I think we can get 3 starters at 39, 48, and 71. We'll see what happens. We'll see if they trade around. But I think this is a draft where if you're not going to have a first-round pick, this is actually a pretty good one to have multiple picks in round 2 and a pick on round 3. All right, so grading Mel Kiper's 2-round mock. He gets Kyler Gordon, the corner out of Washington, and the offensive lineman Tyler Smith out of Tulsa. I'll go B. I'd like one of these first 2 picks to be a receiver, but you can't force it. However, you saw the players available at 48 that he passed on. Alec Pierce was there. Sky Moore was there. They're guys. Hopefully one of those would fall to 71, but you never know. I'll give it a B. I thought he got 2 good players. but I do want to make sure I'm getting a weapon for Justin Fields in this draft. And maybe you get that player at pick number 71, so it's not like I'm going to give this a C. Get your grades in A, B, C, D, or F. All right, we're going to sign off here on Chicago Bears Now. You guys are awesome. Appreciate you for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe. It helps us grow. It's free. Daily videos here on this channel, sometimes 2 videos a day. I think we're going to double dip on some mailbags this weekend, so there you go. YouTube.com/BearsNow. I hope you enjoy this video, your weekend, and hey, happy Easter for those who celebrate as well.